Hey everybody and welcome back. Hope your guys' week is going good so far. It's Wednesday already, so let's just jump right into the news. There's only like two things. It's like an EA video today, pretty much. Alright, I'll jump right into the news right away. So, Battlefield 1 update is obviously set to release on the Xbox One. And basically, Patrick Sutherland, who was EA's studio boss, rejected the idea of World War I and telling investors, if you look at what other partners in the industry are doing, they're going into sci-fi. We've had a lot of success in the modern military space, but I felt like there was a need for a change. When the team presented the idea to me of World War I absolutely rejected it. I said World War I is trench warfare, it can't be fun to play. But I guess obviously later his, position changed over time, and now he's in firm support in the direction of DICE has taken with Battlefield 1. He said that content heading to Xbox One, PS4, including Battlefield's main selling point is vehicles. He said, vehicles generally are where we've taken some of the biggest leaps in the game. We even have horses in the game, mountable things, it's crazy. We have probably the biggest ships we've ever had in Battlefield before. He also opened up the door to a possible Battlefield 3 remastered on the Xbox One and PS4. But he said, I wouldn't say never, we're not going to do it right now. We're focused on Battlefield 1, but if we think the fans want that, I see no reason why we couldn't. So it looks like EA and Battlefield, I guess DICE, they're turning things around because Battlefield 3 was fantastic, great game. Battlefield 4, not so much. Battlefield Hardline, not so much. Now Battlefield 1, I think they're gonna take the Call of Duty fans and bring them back to Battlefield. I don't know, I just feel like that's what's gonna happen. I mean, World War I setting, graphics look really good, gameplay looks really good. I mean, obviously it's all CGI, you can't really get hyped. But from what, I hope they can do, the historic events really well. Tell the good story of what actually happened in World War I and actually play through those events, how it was back in the time. Obviously they can't get it 100% accurate, but it can get pretty close, and I think, if EA and DICE can do a really good job at this game, I think it has a very, very good possibility to sell a lot of copies, even maybe more than Call of Duty. Well, I take that back, because Call of Duty, you have to buy the $80 version to get the remastered Modern Warfare 4. So, I mean, Call of Duty is probably going to sell more, but just solely because the remastered version, and people actually wanted historical events. So, I don't know, we'll have to see, what happens in the end here, but it looks like EA is really turning things around here. Alright, moving on to the last piece of news. Today, EA explains why Star Wars Battlefront didn't have single player, and I guess he teased a sequel might be in the works. So basically, he started off explaining it was a purposeful decision to leave out a campaign, so DICE would get it out in time for the release of Star Wars The Force Awakens. The game is based on obviously the original Star Wars and didn't have content based on Jakku, who is setting from The Force Awakens additionally. Made sense that EA would want to get the game out in time for him to film, as it turned out to be a box office smash that brought more attention than Star Wars brand overall. I mean, I can see why they left the campaign out, but it wasn't right. The hype is going to be around Star Wars The Force Awakens, but, make the game better. Obviously people are going to buy Star Wars no matter what. I mean, obviously you want to get it out in time for the actual release of the movie, but you might as well make it right the first time. I mean, there's no sense to leave single player out. But moving on, it sold over 14 million, it shipped over 14 million. It sits around a 75 on Metacritic. He says, the one thing that we got criticized for was the lack of single player campaign. It was a conscious decision we made due to time and being able to launch the game side by side with the movie. It came out to get the strongest possible impact. I think the team created a really good game based on the premise that we had. He is right there, the graphics and gameplay are actually pretty decent. I would say the game has done very well for us and reached a very different demographic than a traditional EA game. So from that perspective, it's a success. Are we happy with the 75 rating? No. Is that something we're going to cure moving forward? Absolutely. So I guess we'll have to see what's in store for Star Wars. But then he goes on, he keeps on talking about random stuff. I'm just kidding. He said the depth and breadth of something that's proven to be more and more important. In a world where we want to spend $60 up front and we expect people to stay with us over the course of a long time, the depth of what we offer is important. So obviously he's talking about DLC and releasing more stuff for the game to keep people intrigued and keep playing the game. But I mean, if you're charging for DLC, I don't know. That's a slippery slope, and you guys know how I feel about DLC. Then he kind of this is where he hinted at the next release or sequel. He said, basically, they have to go back and course correct for another version if they were to ever make one. Well, what does that kind of tell you? I don't know. He said it. Also, we have designed it to be a much more accessible product to a wide range of group. So an 8-year-old could play this with his father on the couch, as well as a teenager or a 20-year-old who could play the game and enjoy it is more accessible. And for the hardcore, it may not have the depth that they wanted in the game. That is true, but like I said before, they kind of pushed the game out, rushed it, just so they could get out in time for the movie. They could have took, 6-8 months, put a single player campaign in, the game would have sold probably even more, but they wanted to rush it out because the Star Wars hype was going around. And I read somewhere last week that they wanted to make the Star Wars Battlefront or Star Wars series a yearly thing. So I don't know. Guys, I have no idea where EA is at with how they feel about this whole situation and all these games and stuff. I don't think this game should be a yearly release, but that's my personal opinion. But what do you guys think down in the comments? Do you think Star Wars should be a yearly release, or do you think it should be like once every 3 years or 2 years? You know, take a year off, make a decent game. Just so they can put like a decent campaign in there and offline stuff and whatever. I don't know. That's how I feel about the game. So make sure to like this video, comment, rate, and subscribe, and follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook. I will talk to you guys again tomorrow. Have a good one.